I audible, sir?
Please. Yeah. Start.
Hello, everyone. Very good morning to all. My name is Hina Parmar, and today, on occasion of presentation season 3, I'm going to deal with my topic Salim's quest for identity in the magical world of Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children. Here is the personal information of
Continue.
here is my personal information. Some points which I am going to deal in my presentation. So first, we were going to start with Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie is one such distinguished and applauded author of Indian novels. He has 13 novels to his credit, which is Grimace, Midnight Children, Shame, The Static Verses, Heron and the Sea of Stories, The Moor's Last Sigh, The Ground Beneath Her Feet, Furry, Shamila the Clown, The Enchantress of Florence, Luca and the Fire of Life, 2 years, 8 months, and 28 nights. And the most current one, the Golden House. He has additionally authored East-West collection of short stories and non-fictional works which encompass the Jaguar Smile, Nicorette Journey, Step Across the Line, collected non-fiction Wizard of Oz and Joseph Anthony, a memoir. In his literary works, Rushdie deals with the concept of nationalism, history, politics, culture, migration, colonial and post-colonial power structures, freedom of speech, and identity. His works provide expression to the extensive cultural, historical, religious, and political concern of the India subcontinent. Most of his literary works set in Indian subcontinent handle the socio-political matters of the subcontinent. Salman Rushdie is one of the author whose work were very controversial because of some contemporary issues. Midnight Children. Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children, besides being a post-colonial text, is also a historiography metafiction. His narcissistic narration that claims to be historical evokes several issues: positionality, provisionality, intertextuality, ideology, and narrativity. That comes very close to historiography metafiction, a coin from Linda Hutton to describe the postmodern interaction legend of historiography and fiction. Salim Sinai's life is connected to history in such a way that it cannot be separated. So Rushdie, in the very beginning of the novel, tells us that Salim Sinai is handcuff of history. So in this novel, we notice that Salim Sinai's life is when this novel begins, Salim Sinai life were started with his history. Salim Sinai born when the India get independent. Beginning with Salim's birth on the day of India's independence, Rushdie very beautifully connects Salim's personal life with history as if history is happening for him. Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children proves that the statement of Linda Hutton that the novel is self-reflexive and lays claim to historical events and personal lives. On the other side, it is called as postmodern novel and literature also. And While we are going to understand Salim's quest for identity in the magical world of Salman Rushdie, we have to understand what is magical realism in this novel. So, magical time world refers to Indian history, which Rushdie has placed in this novel. Magical realism is the commonest genre which Rushdie uses in this novel. In Midnight Children, the reality part is the history of India, and the magical part is the story. Especially the magical part begins after the birth of 1001 midnight children who were born on the midnight stroke between 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. on India's independence dated 50 August 1947. The characters of the novel go parallel to through this magical time world. The characters are so much mingled to the time world that it seems that they are the real part of Indian history. So, magical realism start with the 1001 midnight children were born, and they were connected with this realism. The magical time world of Rushdie means the magical realism, which the author has used to explore the significant events in the subcontinent history, including the war between India and Pakistan, and the independence of Bangladesh, and the emergency under Indira Gandhi, and metafictional area. When we relate this novel to the concept of the metafictional area developed in it, Salim's, beside being a fictional character, is a creator of fiction. He is thus in position of power and be hence in control of time. As long as he is recreating his fictional life story, he master time and can therefore ignore uh, linearity or chronology, and uses time instead as a flexible background to his narrative. And we can say that Salim invents his narrative, thus he can also invent any time structure he wants to. The story goes according to Salim's along with the time, and he seeks his identity in that time world. So Salim seeks his identity and search his identity by time to time, and his identity changes while time is changes according to Salim's life. And what is identity crisis? The psychological term identity crisis is defined as a period of uncertainty and confusion in which a person's sense of identity become unsure, typically due to a change in their expected aims or role in society. Erikson, who is a German-born psychologist and psychiatric psychoanalyst, known for his theory on a psychological development of human beings, coined the term. Identity develops through experience of the crisis and contradiction which every individual had to overcome in order to raise the next development phase. The question of identity has remained a source of conflict and has led to wars in history. The search for and discovery of identity has been a recurrent journey throughout humanity's history, defined and explored in literary works. The in this novel, there is most important current correlates of his identity presented in the novel are his personal appearance and his equivocal heritage. There is something uncanny about Salim's personal appearance and Salim's quest for identity in the magical world of Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children. Salim's quest for identity is a major theme in this novel. And Salim is the protagonist in this novel, and throughout this novel, we notice that he is in a way that searching his identity, and he faces many trouble during his life. Salim's quest for identity was triggered by the shocking discovery when Mary Pereira confessed that Salim is not Ahmad and Amina's uh, biological son. The revelation about Salim's true parentage represent a major shifting point in Salim's identity, one of which he can never return. Salim, the protagonist of the story, was born precisely at midnight, August 15th, 1947, therefore exactly as old as the independent Republic of India. He later he discovered that he has telephonic powers, and all children born in India between 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. On that date are imbued with special powers. Salim uses his telephonic powers to assemble confess to discover the meaning of their gift. In particular, those children born closest to the stroke of midnight and more powerful gifted than the others. Salim is the character who have telephonic power, and by that power he can hear voice of the children who were born with him. Shiva with powerful knees, Parvati had magical powers, so called as Parvati witch. Who children with notable gifts played major roles in Salim's life. The search for original was especially important for Salim's Sinai's become of the nature of this particular gift of communication he had. But the Midnight Children's Conference falls apart as the children began to go their separate ways as they were affected by the religious culture and class-based prejudice of their parents. Salim suffered from amnesia when he was hit by silver platoon in air attack during Indo-Pakistan War, and he entered a quasi-mythological exile in the jungle of Sundarbag, where he reinvented his memory. So when silver platoon hit him, he lost his power of telephonic. He lost his power of telephonic. That he can hear voice of that 1001 children. Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, began a sterilization campaign shortly after the birth of Parvati's son Adam Sinai. The government destroyed the magician's ghetto. Parvati died while Shiva captured Salim's and brought him to a forced sterilization camp where all the midnight children were sterilized and their powers were destroyed. As Salim recalls his childhood near the end of his life, he becomes aware of the symbolic and tragic role he played in history. Salim's bodily decay goes parallel with the progress of his written novel. And we also notice treatment of time and historical event, space, or origin, and Salim Sinai's life. On 1947 in Bombay, 1001 midnight children were born, and when Mary Pereira discovered the truth that Salim was not the true child of Ahmad and Amina. From the 12 August 1962 to 21 November 1962, for 33 days, Indira and China war occurred at the time Salim went for medical operation. From 26 March 1971 to 60 December 1971, for 8 months, India and Pakistan war occurs. And during that time, Salim lost his memory. On 1971 in India, Indira Gandhi put emergency, and when Salim met during that time, Salim met his midnight friend, and he married Parvati. And in this novel, we notice there were past, present, and future tense, which become a single entity and space in which Salim travels freely and ignoring temporal boundaries. And there were many novels where quest for identity represent as major theme. In V.S. Naipaul's House for Mrs. Biswai and Anita Desai's Bye Bye Blackbird. There were the protagonists search for their real identity. In V.S. Naipaul's A House for Mrs. Biswai, V.S. Naipaul is deeply involved in the colonized people's quest for order and identity. He makes such aspects as central in his novel, A House for Mrs. Biswas, in a partly autobiographical one. It deals with the strains of troubled past and the attempt to find a purpose in life. Mr. Biswas, and prominent character of the novel, tries to liberate from dependence by searching a house for him. The novel depicts Mrs. Biswas' struggle to safeguard his own identity in the heterogeneous environment and his attempt to create an authentic and think selfhood. And in the Anita Desai's Bye Bye Blackbird, we also notice a theme as a search as a quest for identity. Anita Desai explored the issue of identity in terms of individual, social, racial, and national identity. Adit, Dev, and Sarah, who were the major characters in this work, were who will suffer from fragment psyches because they tend to define themselves through a limit sense of self and external reality, ignoring or suppressing many other aspects of their exist. And conclusion. So Salim's personal identity is uh, inextricably entwined with that of India. Salim's disappointment shows the reflection of the newly forming country's own problems. Salim wishful described the timeless Colinos kid, trapped forever in the billboard but free from these revenges of time and age. Salim longs for his lost childhood in the same way as India longs back at its ancient past. Salim is linked to history by different notes of connection through manifold relationships. Salim faces multiple identity press upon him, a mirror of fragmentation and multiplicity of Indian society at the confusion of uh, para, para, parochial identities under which India suffers. So, Harold Bloom says about Midnight Children that reading Midnight Children, I do not find it dated, neither do I read it merely as elegy and eulogy to a failed experiment. It remains a celebration of India, pain to both unity and multiplicity, and both inspiration and challenge her to a new generation to supercade in it in a style. So in this novel, the protagonist Salim Sinai is his way to searching his identity. He suffers a lot, and he suffers a lot during his lifetime because. When he was born, he was mismatched with other child, and when he get younger, if Mary Pereira says that Salim was not the true child of Amina and Ahmed Sinai. And at the end of the novel, we notice that Salim get the idea, and he get the true sense of what he is, and what he is, and what is the real identity of him. Those were references. Thank you. Do you have any question?
Hina, does Salim find a clear sense of identity by the end of the story?
Uh, yes, Salim. When this novel starts, Salim was. Salim was automatically connect with history because he was born where India get independence and Salim life goes parallel with history, and he find many identities throughout this novel. And at the end of this novel, he find his true identity and he finds that what he is and he is also psychological stable that he can search and he can know that what he is.
Now, how does Salim Sinai's identity transfer throughout Midnight's Children in the context of magical realism and historical events?
Salim Sinha's identity transformed throughout Midnight Children in the context of magical realism. Magical realism is one of the major aspect of this novel because Salim's identity connect with magical realism. Salim have magical power. Salim have magical power that he can hear voices of those 1001 children who were born with him and he can hear them and at one point we note that he was frustrated and he was getting angry because of his magical power because those at one point that children were also also fight with Salim because Salim born with that rich family and he can do he can that rich family can allow him whatever he want to do and magical realism is one of the major theme in this novel and at the end when that that instrument hit his head and he lost his power that he lost his magical power and he that time he confused about his identity so at the end uh, we say that magical realism is connected with Salim Sinai's life and it played a vital role of life of Salim Sinai.